Hello, I'm Dee with T Designs by Dee. Thank you so much for joining me in part one of the Party Favor Challenge. In part one of the Party Favor Challenge, we do a series of things in Canva. We create a project folder. We create two images, one of our graduate and one of our mascot. And then lastly, we set up our chip bag in Canva. So let's get started. So the first thing we said we were going to do was we're going to create a folder called projects. So we on the left hand side, when you log into Canva, you see a menu bar which says home, projects, templates, brand, apps, and Dreamlab. You select the projects folder, and then you select the add new button, and you select folder. And then we're going to give that folder a name, Party Favor Chip Bag. And then we select continue. After you do that, you should be able to see, if you go to folder, you should be able to see that folder that you just created, which was Party Favor Chip Bag. Now, our next thing we're going to do is go to Dream Lab, and we're going to create our graduate, and we're going to create a mascot. So before we go any further though, I want to explain to you that if you have Canva, the regular Canva, which is the free version that you do not pay for, you get 25 credits each month. And every time you put a prompt in the box and you hit create, even though you use one credit, it automatically generates 4 images. On the other hand, if you have Canva Pro, you get 500 credits a month. And each time you create an image, again, it will generate 4 images. So in actuality, you are able to generate 2,000 images a month. And every month, it starts over. The next thing I want to tell you before we go any further is it's very important what your aspect ratio is. Because we want to create square images, we will select the aspect ratio button and we will select 1:1. Now let's get started in creating our first image, which is a graduate. Let's start off by saying create an image of a high school female standing in front of a building with a purple, with a green and gold cap and gown, dressed in a green and gold cap and gown. And then we will select create, and it will create 4 images. As I said, each time you select create, it creates 4 images. Beautiful, 4 beautiful pictures. But let's just say we want to specify her nationality. So let's say we wanted to create an image of a African American high school female student. So let's edit our prompt, create an image of an African American high school female standing in front of a building dressed in a green and gold cap and gown. Okay, now let's see what we get. And you can do that for any nationality, Caucasian, Hispanic, and as you can see, it has generated some beautiful images. So let's just hypothetically just select one of them. So let's just select this one. So we selected, and Goes over the prompt again. It gives us the prompt. It gives us the resolution, which it generated it in. But we also see where we have an upscale button. And what does upscale do? It increases an image's resolution and clarity while preserving its original composition. So we're going to select upscale and watch it do its magic. And then we are going to download our image. And the way we do that is if we hover over it with our mouse, as you can see, it has three dots. It has an edit that you can go in and make changes, but it also has an arrow going down, which is our download button. So we're going to select that and it will download it for us. Then we're going to go back and we're going to remove our prompt that we used to create her, and we're going to write a prompt for a mascot. We're going to say create, let's say, what kind of mascot do we want? Let's say eagle. Create an eagle mascot. Use the colors green and gold. And then we're going to select create, and let's see what it gives us. Okay, very, very nice. Okay, but we don't want the whole body. So let's just say create the face, the head of an eagle using the colors green and gold. Okay, and let's see what we get. If it's something that we can use. Okay, very nice. So I like this one. So we're going to select it, and it tells us what the resolution is, and we're going to select upscale. And then once it finished generating, we're going to download it as well. And we do that by what? Clicking the down arrow. Okay. Now, before we go any further, let's go back to our projects folder, and let's go back to our party favor chip bag. And then let's add these two designs that we downloaded to the folder. Party favor chip bag. Add designs. Design. Okay, so I don't understand why it doesn't let us add our images. And then we're gonna go to our download folder. So let me explain what I did. There's a drop down menu here, and it initially started off with folders. Our designs is what it initially. We had to select images because we're gonna put our images in that folder. So once we did that, then I went over to where you could drop the folders, drop the images, and then I'm gonna select the two images that I want in that folder. And it put the two images in there, and I'm going to select the first images, which is the image of the female graduate, and I'm going to go to remove BG, a BG remover, and it's going to remove the background, and I'm going to say save to Canva. And so you can see it has both of the images, the one with the background and the one without. And then we're going to do the same thing for our eagle. We're going to select BG remover. And then we're going to select save to Canva. All right. So now we're going to create a design. And we're going to do a custom size. And our custom size is going to be 11 by 8.5, but we're going to change our units to inches. And then we're going to select 11 by 8.5. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our chip bag template. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to elements. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to file, and then we're going to go to settings and make sure it has selected show rulers and guides. That should be checked because we're going to need those rulers and guides. Okay, so that's already set up for us. So then we're going to go to elements, and then you're going to select line. And our line needs to be 3 inches. So the way we're going to know whether it's 3 inches or not is that we're going to take our mouse and drag. And you see where it says 33.5, 3.2, 3.1, finally 3. So that is a 3-inch line. Okay. But we need another line because we need our line to be horizontal as well. What are we doing? We are dividing our template into 3 sections. On the left hand side, there'll be 3 inches. On the right hand side, it'll be 3 inches. And in the middle, it'll be 5 inches. Okay. So we're going to take this second line that we have, and we're going to transform it or turn it until it's straight up and down. I hope you saw it was 90 degrees. And so we're going to bring that over and then we're going to just drag it down all the way down. Trying to make it so you can see. Okay, so that's our left side, but we need this middle part to be 8 inches. So we're going to use that same line that was 3 inches, and you see how it's 3 inches at the top, and we're going to drag it all the way over to 8 inches because 3 and 5 is 8. Okay. All right. And then we're going to take this line, our horizontal line, and we're going to hit this plus sign here, which is a duplicate line, and we're going to bring that all the way over. Okay. So now we have our left at 3 inches, our middle is 5 inches, and our right is 3 inches. So now we can just delete that line, send it to the trash. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is we're going to start adding some elements, making it more attractive, customizing. So we said our colors are green and gold. So let's go to elements and let's type in green and gold background because that's what we want, green and gold background. I love this one. So we're going to use that one. And this is a great time to stop to explain a little something to you as well. When we're dealing with elements, you'll see that some of these elements have a crown. That means they are pro features, and you have to have a pro account in order to use them. But then others are not. So maybe I should not use that one because it's a pro one. Let's just use a regular one because anybody will be able to use that if it's just a regular one. So let's use that one. And then we're going to stretch it out. And don't worry about it being on the outside. Okay, so now we need to position. We see our lines are gone because we added the background. So let's just click anywhere and then select position and then go to layers. And the reason why we cannot see The lines is because we have our background on top. We're going to drag that all the way to the bottom, and now we're able to see our lines. Once we get everything in place, we can remove our lines if we like. We're just using them as a guide. Another thing I like to point out is when you do make a selection, then there are magic recommendations available through the software that are presented to you. But we're going to go with this one because we're just practicing. So now let's go ahead and bring our elements in, our graduate and our mascot. So how do we access them? We're going to go to projects, and then we're going to go to our folder we created, party favorite chip bag. And then we're going to select our graduate without the background. And make some adjustments to her. And we're going to bring in our eagle. Wrong eagle. Here it is. And I'm going to want to flip him. So we're going to flip him horizontally. And there again, we're going to size him up as well. Okay. And then one other thing we want to do before we end our session today is you'll notice that a lot of custom chip bags on the bottom, they have a box. And we can take our crimper and we can crimp those edges, or either we can take our scissors and we can crimp it and make it look very professional. So let's go back to elements. And when we go back to elements, we're going to clear what we already have in there for our green and gold background. And we're going to type rectangle because that's what we're going to put on the bottom. And then after we bring in our rectangle, then we'll add color to it. So you can either select aura, or you can just select rectangle. And we're going to make that about 4.5. And we're going to pull it all the way over. Okay. And the yellow doesn't go with it. So let's go back to our elements, hit clear. And then we're going to type, let's try gold glitter. Just to see what it would look like. And once again, we really want to use something that is not let's use a photo then. Look like all of them. Okay. Here's one. We can use that one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to resize it so it'll fit right on over it. And we're going to adjust it, of course. That looks like no good gold ones. That look like it's heavy on the eyes. Let's go with this one. Yeah, it looks better. And of course we can change this anyway. All right. So how did we say we get to see where all of our elements are? We select our image of what we're working on. We go to position, and then these are the two items. And we're gonna group those. So click on the first one, hold down your shift key, and click on the second one. And you see the menu appears, group. So we're gonna go ahead and group it. And then we're gonna hit the plus sign because we're also gonna duplicate it. And we're gonna drag that to the top. So this is what we have so far for day one. And we're gonna stop right here.